it's Mal. Welcome to/welcome back to the Doll Mom Podcast. Today's episode, I am super duper excited for. I feel like it's such a long-awaited one because not only did I want to have this guest on, other people wanted to have this guest on too. I gotten a lot of feedback from my listeners recently on who should I have on, give me some ideas, and a lot of people requested you. And I was very excited because I was like, oh my goodness, I want to have this girly on too. So today we are having on Heidi. Welcome to the Doll Mom Podcast. I'm super duper excited for our episode. Thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm super duper excited. So today we're obviously going to be getting to know Heidi, how she got into dolls and the doll social media community. And then we're going to be talking about her lovely organization called Heidi's Heroes, which if you have not heard about it, it is great. Giving you a little bit of a spoiler alert before we get into the segment. So you want to make sure that you listen to this full episode so you can really hear about how amazing Heidi is. So I feel without further ado, since I'm just blooming with excitement, let's get this episode started.
Yay!
Okay. Alrighty, Heidi. How did you get into dolls?
I got into American Girl dolls when I was probably about 4. My grandma, whose name is also Heidi, was friends with Pleasant, who started the American Girl doll company. And Pleasant had tons of American Girl doll items that were returned or damaged or that kind of a thing in her garage. And it was overflowing. And my grandma worked for the Madison Children's Museum. And so she was like, hey, we should fix this up and do a sale. And so the first ever benefit sale was in my grandma's front yard. And then the next year, there was people camping in my grandparents' yard to attend the benefit sale. And it became, this huge sale that happened every year. And the first few were in my grandparents' yards, and my aunt and my mom would always be helping fix up all of the dolls. And so when I was 4, my grandma gave me a big, huge vintage trunk that had 2 Mollys and 2 Kirstens and then a bunch of clothing. And half the clothing was not sized properly for American Girl, which is why it was returned. So it drove me crazy. But that was my introduction to dolls, was just 4 dolls from the benefit sale right off the bat. And I was immediately hooked. And
oh my goodness. I love that. I did not know that about you. Oh my goodness. That's really cool. Oh my goodness.
It's a fun story to tell. People are always really excited to hear it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I love the benefit sale. I wish they still did that because it's amazing. And I love the fact that it gives back, it has a double meaning. You're getting awesome doll products and you're giving back at the same time.
Yep. Yeah. I'm really sad they stopped doing it because it was something that I then used in my organization as well.
Yeah.
So I was sad that it was the last one.
Yeah. I only got to experience it once in person because, with COVID and stuff, which that's how I kind of got into the benefit sale too. Before I was like, oh, I heard about it, but I was just like, oh, that's probably such a long process or really exclusive, you know what I mean? Things. And so I never really thought to look into it. But in 2020, I had a friend who offered me their ticket and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. I want to be in this. And so every year after that, we kind of shopped it online. And then when they had it in person, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to go. So we went and it was just amazing.
Yeah, it's so amazing. Fun thing to go to. I got to go to 2 in person. I wanted to go to more, obviously. But
yeah. How did you get into AGIG or the doll social media world?
When I was 12 or 13, Instagram was newly a thing. And I still really liked my dolls. None of my friends were into dolls anymore. Stole my brother's camera and just started taking pictures. And then I made an Instagram account. And back then it was called Doll Swag, which is hilarious. I just started posting pictures. And then I eventually renamed it to Plethora AG. Abundance of AG. And I just took tons of photos and it got me into photography. And yeah, I don't use that account as much as anymore, but it has my heart still, and it's fun. It's been fun to watch that whole Instagram AGIG just like evolve over the years, because I saw it from like the very start. So
yeah, that's cool that you can be a part of something that, essentially you're like, I started this kind of, I've been around, like I'm like an OG, over here.
Yep. Yeah, I've had that account for like 11 or 12 years, which is crazy.
Wow. So backing up a little bit, what drove you to the name change on that account?
I honestly have no idea. I think eventually, the word swag was really big in like 2013. And then I think it kind of faded out, and I was like, well, this is no longer cool. I can't use this one. And so I changed it, and I don't know where I came up with the word plethora. I feel like my elementary school read a book that had the word plethora as like the title. And so I knew what that word meant. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. I have a lot of American Girl dolls. So.
Aww. I think I'm most excited for this segment because it's you. Like, I just feel like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just, I've been following your account for a while and I really love it. And I just think it's just a great, like, organization. And I just think you deserve all the love in the world for it. So we're now going to be talking about Heidi's Heroes. Heidi, what is Heidi's Heroes?
Heidi's Heroes is the nonprofit that I run for children with cancer. I send American Girl dolls to kids with cancer and their siblings. Every once in a while, kids don't want a doll, and so I send them something else. But for the most part, it is American Girl dolls. And I think I've been officially a nonprofit for maybe 3 or 4 years now. And prior to that, it was just like me fundraising on my own. But yeah, it's kind of like my passion project that I love doing.
I love it. So what made you want to start Heidi's Heroes?
When I was 13, I was on Instagram and I found the Instagram of at the time she was a toddler, named Lily, who was fighting Ewing sarcoma. I think that's how you say it, which is a soft tissue cancer. And she went through 13 rounds of adult strength chemo when she was 3 months old. It nearly killed her. And she ended up surviving, and now I believe she's 11 years cancer-free. But I was really horrified by the realities of what childhood cancer is. And at the same time as finding this, I was in 8th grade, and my middle school had us complete a year-long independent study, and it was called an Aperture Project. And you could really study whatever you wanted, and you had to have a mentor and do all this work outside of school. And so I was studying painting. And so I decided to sell my paintings in order to buy American Girl dolls for kids with cancer. And within that project, I think I raised like $300 or something, and it sat in my room in one of the mini doll boxes.
Oh, that's perfect.
And it just sat in there for like, I don't know, 5 years or something, until I was a freshman in college in 2018. I finally found out that Costco sold the dolls with the pajamas, I think, for like the price of the doll. And so I went and I bought 3. And then I just posted it on Instagram and Facebook. I was like, does anybody know any kids fighting cancer? And yeah, from there it just spiraled. And people donated all of a sudden. People were buying my art. And within like a month, I had bought 19 more dolls. And yeah, it has continued since that time.
That's amazing. So you mentioned how people started coming to you, buying your art and telling their stories. Did you originally tell their stories? Because I know on your Instagram you highlight different kiddos who are fighting.
At first, I used my personal Instagram, and I had only donated like 3, so I just posted on there. And then maybe like 6 months after donating the first couple dolls, I made my Heidi's Heroes Instagram. And that's when I started like highlighting kids and not just raising money, but like, here is what childhood cancer is, and trying to raise awareness for it, because you know, more than anything, like, yeah, dolls are awesome. But what these kids really need is awareness that they can have better treatments. And so my Instagram hopefully does both of those things.
I think it does. I think it definitely brings a light to some people who are very lucky that they never get to experience that trauma and the experience, you know, all the stuff that deals with it, but also it highlights the people who do get to experience it, let their voices be heard, and, you know, raise more money towards finding a cancer treatment, you know, like a better, like to cure cancer or to kind of just, you know, give them a voice.
Yeah, and that's what I hope to do. I mean, most of the kids that I work with are too young to really have their own voice in the matter. And their parents will share it, but if I can make it so that even just like one person comes across my account and reads a fact about childhood cancer, and then later that day is like, I read this horrifying thing about cancer in kids and how most of the treatments are from before the 1980s, then I've done my job.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if I can get people talking about it, and then I can also put a smile on a kid's face who is going through such a hard time, then that's really what it's all about for me.
Oh, I love that. It's so sweet. My goodness. So, do you just help people who are local to you? Is this like not necessarily like worldwide, but like US type thing all across the US?
When I first started, I was sending some things international.
Wow,
I sent
that's
to
incredible.
a couple different countries, but it's so expensive to ship to other countries that it was like, for one kid, it was the cost of sending stuff to like 3 kids in the US. So I ended up switching to just the United States, and I send anywhere in the United States. And hopefully eventually I can go back to being international, but right now I am the only person running my nonprofit. I am not a business person by any means. So I don't know how to, you know, fundraise to the extent that I think I need to in order to ship internationally. So hopefully one day I'll have more people that are able to help me out and I can do that again. But currently it's just the US.
Nice. I think that's so powerful. Oh my goodness. You're so inspiring. What is the whole process behind getting a doll and then giving that doll to a child?
So for a while, I just had like a stock of dolls in my room from the first few donations. And I would reach out to families that I found on Instagram, and I would just message them saying who I am and what I was trying to accomplish, and ask if they wanted a doll. And then after a while, it kind of became word of mouth. And now people reach out to me more than I reach out to them. Every once in a while, if I'm like scrolling and I come across a kid, I will reach out to them. But usually people find me either through my website, they'll email me, or they will just DM me on Instagram, or they'll message me on Facebook. Yeah, we'll talk about, do you want a doll that has hair or one that doesn't have hair? Because a lot of kids, even though they're bald, they still want to play with the doll's hair and that sort of thing. But some of them want the doll that's bald because, you know, if you lose your hair, that's a pretty stressful thing when you're like 5 years old. And so I'll send whichever one they want. Currently, I have a lot of dolls stocked up in my house from last year's benefit sale that I've just been shipping those. And so that makes it easy.
So it's mostly like new in box dolls.
Yes. So people will donate used dolls to me, which is awesome. If they're in rough condition, I will send them to the American Girl Doll Hospital, and it saves me so much money because it's like $50 instead of, I don't know, like $115 or something like that. And so it saves me a ton of money. And then the doll comes in a hospital gown, which is really fun because I can send the doll in a hospital gown. The kid can like receive chemo with the doll. I've gotten videos of the doll getting like a port put in to get chemo before the kid, so it's a little less scary. So when people send me used dolls, I'll either send them to the doll hospital if it's like just their hair that's rough and their skin looks fine, I'll just replace their wig. Or if they're in like pristine condition, then I can just send them to the kids straight away. And people donate all sorts of things. They donate used clothing that's, you know, gently used so it looks new. People have made so much handmade doll clothing. It's crazy, sent to me. And so I get to send that. And then I always love to include the hospital gowns. So even if it's not a doll from the doll hospital that has a hospital gown on, people will donate their doll hospital gowns from sending their dolls. And one woman keeps making me hospital gowns to send with them. So I always include those as well. And yeah, it makes it really special, I think.
Goodness, that does sound special. Oh my goodness, you're like gifting them like a doll that's truly is just like them in a way. I love that. That emotional connection. Oh, I love it. I mean, you also do it all. I think that's so inspiring too. Not only are you running, this incredible nonprofit, but you're also, you're putting in the work with these dolls. You're fixing them up. You're getting them nice and ready. You're making it a bit personalized for them. I love that. In what ways can listeners get involved with your organization?
There's a lot of different ways that people can get involved. If they have old doll stuff, they can send it to me and I'll send it off to a kid. Even just like sharing my posts on social media is awesome because then more people see it and more people want to donate. I've had a lot of people do like birthday Facebook fundraisers or that kind of thing where for their birthday they ask for donations for my nonprofit. Since it is only me, I'm always looking for people who want to volunteer their time to like help me run my social media or to even just like message families that they help me find. Or I don't know, anything like that is always really, really helpful. And yeah, sharing posts is like one of the main ways that people can find me. I've been doing TikTok a lot recently. So, liking and commenting on my TikTok is helpful. So yeah, my goal is to one day be sponsored by American Girl. So I'm like, I got to get some followers so that I can be by them.
Everybody go follow her, make multiple accounts, follow her on every single account you have, blow her up, make one of her TikToks go trending. So you kind of mentioned this, but what do you hope to achieve or accomplish with Heidi's Heroes? What is like your long-term goal, or where do you hope Heidi Heroes will take you?
I think that it would be awesome if one day it could be my full-time job. Currently, I just do it as like for fun. I have a whole separate job. And so it would be awesome if that could be what I do with my time because I just don't have enough time for it as much as I would like to. I would love to eventually have a big enough nonprofit where I could donate to childhood cancer research while also sending the dolls because like I said, they just need research so badly. They receive such a little proportion of cancer funding. It's 8% now of all cancer research funding goes to all 100 types and subtypes of childhood cancer. And so I'd love to be able to donate to that and, raise awareness for childhood cancer. And that would be just awesome to be able to do. But more than anything, the most important thing to me is that I make this fight with kids just a little bit easier for them. So if that just means sending a couple dolls a month forever, that's awesome. And I'll do it because I just think that the American Girl dolls are so special and they're better than just any other random toy that I could send them because, they're just such a special toy in my opinion.
I agree too. There's nothing there's always like that first, I remember when the first time I got my first American Girl doll, I remember how I got introduced to it. There's something about them that's just so not only nostalgic, but also just so special. And it's a core memory saved in your head. It's it's kind of life changing in a way because it's so memorable and it's just so special.
Yep. Yeah. My first doll that I really, really loved more than anything was Nikki because she was from Colorado. I was from Colorado. I was 7 when she came out and she rode horses and she skied and I did all those things. And I was like, this doll is literally me. And she still to this day, she is my favorite doll. When we thought our house was going to burn down a couple years ago in this huge fire, that was the one thing that I grabbed. Besides the other things that you have to grab, that was the one.
Yeah.
that was her. So yeah, they're so special.
Backing up a little bit, giving children dolls. Do you give like the same children, like, do you like, how often do you, I guess, gift a doll to the same child? Is it just like a one-time deal? Is it like maybe like a couple times? Like, you know, maybe they got out of cancer, they were cancer-free for a little bit, now they're back in it. Like, how's the whole process kind of work?
Yeah, I do a one-time thing for a doll. I always send things to siblings as well. So if they have siblings that would like a doll as well, I always send it to them because I think that siblings are kind of like the forgotten warriors of cancer a lot. A lot of organizations only send stuff to the child that has cancer, and the siblings are just left out. Well, the parents also are spending more time with the kid that has cancer. Obviously, like that's how it works. But, you know, there's other kids too. So I always send it to siblings. If a kid relapsed and a family reached out to me that they really needed support for like Christmas gifts, for example, then I would support them again. I've done that only a couple times because there are a lot of other organizations that also help out. So I've done a couple, like over the holidays, I always do a big Christmas fundraiser and I send stuff to tons of families. Like last year we sponsored like, I don't know, 70 Christmases or something. One or two of those were repeats, but it's never sending them the same thing. It's always something different. So
that's neat. Congratulations on sponsoring Christmases. That's so cool. I love that. So it's not only just dolls, it's other things too.
Yeah. Some kids don't like dolls. Sometimes it's, most of the people that come to me are little girls, just because I think I promote the dolls more than anything else. Because people, when they get like a Lego set from me, are not really like taking a picture and sending it to me quite as much as like when they get a doll. But if they don't like dolls, I will find out whatever they like and I'll put together what is about the same value as the care package that I would send if it had a doll in it. With like Legos and books and toys and art supplies and all that kind of thing. So,
oh, I love that. That's so cool. Mm-hmm. And I also love how you gift to siblings because, you know, it's always talked about the child that is going through cancer, you know, how hard it is, which it is very tough. But I feel like you never hear about the other members who are affected by the child, you know, their mom and dad, you know. I feel like maybe are talked about, you know, a little bit more than a sibling is, but they're so important too. I love how you raise awareness like that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they fight their own fight. It's not necessarily the same, but it's a fight in itself. And I mean, a lot of these kids are like 3 years old. And so they don't understand why their sister or brother is getting all of the attention and why mom spends all day with the other kid and why that kid's going to the hospital every day, or sometimes the younger sibling has to go to the hospital with them and is just like in the hospital room with nothing to do all day. So yeah, I think it's really important to include the siblings because, you know, they're just kids also, and they are fighting a really hard fight to see your sibling who's like your best friend go through this horrible thing where they're just like so sick all the time, and they, you know, sometimes they pass away and they don't understand that. And so, yeah, I think it's important that they get included.
What piece of advice would you give to listeners who want to get involved in supporting cancer patients but are unsure of how?
You know, learn as much as you can, whether that's just looking at my Instagram and looking at the couple facts that I've posted, or going to a family that has a fighter and learning from them. You know, learn about it, just talk to people about it, you know, bring it up and be like, hey, I heard this thing about childhood cancer. And then share about it and just repost something on your story about it. Or, you know, if you feel called to do a fundraiser for not even necessarily my organization, like obviously I love it when it's mine, but there's so many awesome organizations that do a Facebook fundraiser for your birthday. And if you raise $100, like that's awesome. That's $100. If you raise $5, that's awesome. A lot of the time I will, if I'm like running low on funds, or if it's like Christmas or something, I'm always like, can you just skip coffee today and donate $5? Because, you know, it's so easy to go to Starbucks and you spend like $7 on a Starbucks. But if you just skip that one coffee and you donate $7 and everybody did that today, like that's a lot of money all of a sudden that's getting donated. So little things add up. Even if you can only give $1 to an organization, like that adds up a lot, and it really makes a big difference.
If a listener knows somebody who's going through cancer, maybe they're a child, maybe they're not, in what ways do you suggest that they can support them?
I would say if you know somebody that is fighting cancer, really big things are if you're able to make them dinner, check that their immune system is okay with that. So you can make them dinner, or if they have a child with cancer and it's your friend, send them $5 so that the mom can go get coffee, because like mom is exhausted. Write them a card, or like have your kids write cards to their kids. Like I'm a teacher, so I like having my students write cards every once in a while. Just check in on them, and don't be afraid to ask about how their kid is doing. I think that that's something that a lot of families have said, is like people are always afraid to bring it up, and like, but we need to talk about it, because you can't just bottle it in. Or like a lot of families have had a kid pass away, and they're like, people are terrified to say their name because they don't want to, bring this up for us and make us feel sad. But what we're terrified of is that our kid's name won't ever be said again. So, say their kid's name, bring it up to them, remind them that you think about it. And that makes a really big difference for those families, I think.
I'm glad that you said that, because, there's a lot of, I feel like, or if you do bring it up, like, it's not going to be helpful. But
yeah,
if you do talk about it, it is going to be helpful. You're going to gain more knowledge. You're going to gain ways on how you can support them, or stuff that maybe you didn't even consider or think about, you're going to find out. And I think that's really powerful. I feel like sometimes society kind of shuts off conversations like this. And it's like, no, we should be open to having conversations like this, because that's how we learn, and that's how we grow as individuals and as a society.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the worst the person can say is, I don't feel like talking about that right now. And that's totally fine. But you need to give them the opportunity to, because, chances are not a lot of people are, and they don't want to be the one who always has to bring it up. So I think that, like giving them the opportunity to talk about it is helpful. And that goes for like anything that people are going through, really. It's hard to be the one to bring it up. So if someone else does, it makes it easier. Yeah.
Plus that other person might not even know how to bring it up too.
Totally.
Like how to make their story heard or be told to others.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess just if anybody, if you feel called to donate or you want to help out in any way, don't be afraid to just message me on Instagram, or my website has my email in it. Shoot me an email in any way. Like I'm always happy to talk about it, or to just, if you want to know more, reach out. If you want to donate, reach out, anything like that. I love when people do. So, I just wanted to add that I'm so thankful to every single person who has ever donated. I am blown away and like frequently brought to tears by the things that arrive at my house. It is really not possible without everybody who has helped out. People that have made doll clothes and doll quilts, and donated their childhood doll that they loved so much so that it could go to another kid, or even just donated $1. It really is just so heartwarming to see, and I'm so grateful to every single person. And I know that everybody who has received a doll from Heidi's Heroes is just as grateful to everybody. So thank you to everybody who's ever donated.
Aww. I love that. And I feel like you can definitely see the happiness, and you can feel the happiness for the photos that gets posted of, the children getting the doll and all this. I just think it's so magical. Yeah. Speaking of donations, anyone can donate, right? Nice. Yep, it could be homemade stuff.
Yep. On my Instagram, you can DM me, or I have my website linked in my bio, and there you can see my PayPal, my Venmo, all that good stuff for donating. If you want to donate money, or if you want to donate dolls or whatever, there's how to do that on there as well. So
perfect. So it's a step-by-step process, so nobody should feel scared or anxious or worry about donating. It is simple, and your stuff will go to children, and it will mean the world to them, like I'm sure, based on photos and all this.
Yes. Every single dollar goes to the kids. I don't pay myself anything, so it all goes to the kids.
we have reached the end of this episode. I am honestly really sad because I had a lot of enjoyment, a lot of fun getting to talk to Heidi and getting to spread the awareness of Heidi's Heroes and getting to talk about it. But I am excited to edit it and get it posted so everybody is aware of what Heidi Heroes is and what ways they can support them and all that. Send her all the love. So if you want to go check Heidi out, her Instagram is at Heidi Heroes. She has a website. She's on TikTok. Are you on anything else? I think that's it, right?
That's it. Yep, it's Heidi's Heroes.
Okay, well, I will link them in the description box. All the links to her social media accounts and to her website are going to be linked in the description of this podcast so you guys can have direct access to go check her out and send her the love. Go make one of her TikToks viral, all that. She deserves it because she's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
My name is Mal. I'm Dollies and Rainbows on TikTok, Instagram. We're everywhere. So not really that exciting. But what is exciting is the Doll Mom Podcast social media handle. So you want to make sure that you're following us on Instagram, Facebook. We're also on TikTok at Doll Mom Podcast. Those will be linked down in the description box as well. Heidi, I had so much fun having you on. And I think our conversation was so powerful.
I hope so. I think it was too. I really like talking.
Oh, you're welcome back anytime that you want to come on. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you all for listening. To the listeners, thank you all for listening to this episode of the Doll Mom Podcast. Once again, make sure you go check out Heidi's Heroes. Awesome, amazing, and nothing but kind words. I can go on and on about Heidi's Heroes. Go check them out if you haven't done so already. I will see you all in the next one. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for having me.